And in the latest move against Washington's harsh levies on steel and aluminium, the Chinese Commerce Ministry says it plans to impose tariffs on up to $3 billion of U.S. imports. The tentative list targets 7 types of items, totaling 128 products. A 15% tariff is expected to be imposed on 120 products, including fresh fruit and steel pipes, worth about $1 billion. A 25% tariff will be slapped on the other 8 products worth $2 billion, which includes pork products and recycled aluminium. The ministry also said cooperation is the only right choice for China and the United States. It urged the U.S. to solve differences through dialogue to avoid harm to the big picture of bilateral cooperation. While the Chinese Foreign Ministry has also slammed the U.S.'s decision, it says it hopes the United States can take China's position seriously.
The U.S. has ignored China's efforts in protecting intellectual property. The U.S. decision to impose tariffs on China goes against the WTO rules and concerns from the business community. China strongly opposes the unilateral action that is trade protectionism. It's not beneficial to the U.S., China, and the rest of the world. China will not sit idly as our interests hurt. We're prepared to defend our rights and interests. As for the 301 investigation, China has repeatedly said we do not want a trade war, but we're not afraid of it. We're confident in taking any challenges. We urge the U.S. to make a rational decision.
Well, let's get some more perspective and analysis on this developing story from Ian Cruikshanks. He's the chief economist at the South African Institute of Race Relations. He's joining me live from Johannesburg. Ian, there are concerns, though, that the tensions between the world's top 2 economies could spiral into a trade war. So, in your view, how would such a scenario look like?
Well, I think there is a very real threat that we could get a trade war. And as you just said, between the 2 biggest trading nations in the world, this could easily escalate and have global implications. And that would be very important to the African continent. You know, we're major producers in Africa of base commodities, but also of agricultural products, of a certain amount of manufactured goods. And it would be very unfortunate and would certainly have a significant negative impact if trade in these areas was restricted. But there may be opportunity there. I think there's an opportunity that if China doesn't have an outlet to America, they may simply switch some of their production into marketing these goods in Africa. There's a huge market there, 1.5 billion people, 55 separate nations. There have to be some good opportunities for trade, and I would be surprised if they sat down, let the American trade slip by, and don't look for alternative markets. I think we could be in line there.
Right, we could be in line there. So if you could give us a clearer indication, though, of the opportunities in this developing saga for other countries, especially in Africa, which has been strengthening its ties now with China.
Well, China certainly has been putting in a big effort over the last few years to strengthen their ties in having access to base commodities which they need to feed into their industrial production and manufacturing areas. And I think that's why they have strengthened these. They want to know that there are alternative sources, whether it be of these commodities, of power, of whatever it is, and also of goods that can be traded in the opposite direction. Trade where, for instance, China may have been exporting to America, they may look for, although it will be fragmented, for trading opportunities into Africa as well. I think that that's where we could see a swing in world trade flows in the next, in the short term.
Well, Ian, we are seeing that world politics and now world trade is likely to change as some Western countries, and starting with America, now look inward. So what's the likely impact, though, in your view, of these ongoing trade tensions and the potential trade war?
Well, you know, we have to certainly the first step has been taken already by America. And I think what is important is just to see how much China hits back, how much, whether they're prepared to say, well, we're going to accept this. I don't think they will. I think there's too much at risk to simply step back and accept it. I think that there's going to be retaliatory measures. And the problem for Africa then is being caught in the debris which comes sweeping from one side or the other. So really, we have to be on the African nations have to be on the lookout for opportunities to step in where China or America may be stepping back, even if it is only temporarily. Because once they establish a bridgehead, they could then hopefully expand that in future trading opportunities.
All right, Ian Cruikshanks joining us there from Johannesburg with that insight. Thank you.